Hello, Grapperinos, and welcome to another exciting episode of Probably Next Week on Smackdown. I'm Bryon, and once again, joining me for the show is the one and only Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Hello.
I cannot think of any wrestling related thing to you for this week, which is probably proportional to the amount of effort Road Dogg puts into booking Smackdown. So,
And I also put in a proportional amount of effort to the amount of effort that Road Dogg puts into booking SmackDown on my card this week.
you and me both, buddy. Wow. Is it just me, or does WWE kind of feel boring now? I don't know.
It does. I mean, SmackDown. I always find SmackDown harder to book than Raw, honestly, and I'm not quite sure why. I think it's just because there aren't many like engaging storylines on SmackDown beyond what John Cena's doing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, other than John Cena, you kind of have, I don't know, LA Knight. You have not Bloodline, the Bloodline with Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo, and not much else. I don't know. It just feels like a non. It feels like the ordinary. Like, let's book this show. Okay, done. All right, let's book next week's show. Whatever. But Mike and I are here, and we are here to try to book a SmackDown that is kind of in line with Road Dogg's vision, but also with some flair to it that he and I have. We got flair in our bookings, even though our bookings are not really that much terrific to look at. But again, we shall see how similar or different they are. And so that is the point of the show. We got some rules here that we try to stick by with our booking, which is the usual. We can only use people from SmackDown, no peeps from Raw. Non wrestlers, or I should say non active wrestlers, can be used within the realm of possibility. Our booking includes announced matches for the next episode with our predictions for the winners and how they win. And our booking can use any valid stipulation for any match aside from the announced matches because they are announced. And so, after we do our bookings and present them to you guys, we will try to watch the next episode of Friday Night SmackDown. And we are going to score our predictions and booking based on the following scoring system. 4 matches, 1 point for the people competing on the match, 1 point for who won and how, and 1 point for stipulation. For promos, we have half a point for each person that's coming out, and 1 if that person comes out, we'll just say in the right segment, which kind of makes it more of his or her segment. So, for example, if I predict that Logan Paul comes out and cuts a promo, and he does, that's 1 point for me. If, however, Solo Sikoa comes first and then Logan Paul comes after him, then I get half a point. And for each topic that they spew out to the general public, it's 1. We also have an additional point for the correct order of segments throughout the show, so that's from beginning to end of the show. And anything after the video is released counts in terms of announcements. And as it is SmackDown, not Raw, backstage segments don't count. I'm pretty sure they don't have any ad-free Netflix tier only segments, so it's just the backstage segments. So before we get to our bookings, here are the scores from last week. Wow. It's kind of a wash. I will say I got 2 points from what I got in the booking, and Mike, I think you got 3 points. So you are kind of leading by 1 point. So you should be proud of yourself, Mike, I guess.
I think I had the first correct. I mean, you probably had it before me, but I had my first correctly predicted match, as in matchup. So I last week I predicted that Michin and BFAB would fight the Secret Hervis, and that wasn't even pre-booked. That was just something that I thought would happen, and it did happen.
Yeah.
So
You,
I'm
you
proud of
got the
myself. I'm getting
you
better
got the
at this.
coincidences right. You read into Road Dogg's mind.
I did.
Or Road Dogg got inspired by your booking. I don't know. It could be that too. Alright, well, let's take a look at the announced matches for next week. We got the Money in the Bank qualifier match between Nia Jax, Jade Cargill, and Naomi. We also got another one for the men, as Andrade takes on Jacob Fatu and Carmelo Hayes. We also got another John Cena promo segment as he appears in front of the audience once more. And we have a return, Bianca Belair. So without further ado, let's book this thing, starting off with my version of the show, as John Cena makes his way to the ring and cuts a promo and says the usual, I hate fans, rah rah rah, I'm the real champion, rah rah rah, all that stuff. He talks about the Saturday night's main event match. And then we're going to have Cody come in and talk some sense into Cena. Kind of the usual thing from what they did at WrestleMania. He's probably going to say that John has gotten out of touch with the fans, and the fans are with Cody now. And even if that is the case, there are still some people that would cheer for Cena and boo Cody. But in that case, Cody is going to beat some sense into Cena, and he's going to prove that, I don't know, he and Jay are better than Cena and Logan. Something like that. Something about Money in the Bank. Brawl happens, Crossroads, Cody wins, you know, the usual WrestleMania booking stuff, whatever. I think this match between Cena, Logan, and Cody and Jay kind of sounds in paper, unless there's something big happening, in which case, fine, but I don't have much interest in. Sorry. Moving on to the triple threat between the women, as Nia Jax take on Jade Cargill and Naomi. We're gonna have Jade Cargill win by pinfall because we're pushing all the new people. Jade Cargill's kind of new. You might as well push her, and Naomi and Nia can go on to some other mid-card angle, beating up B-Fab or something. Moving on to Johnny Gargano versus Alex Shelley. This happens because last week, or I should say last episode, we got Tommaso Ciampa taking on the other half of the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin. And now we got Johnny Gargano versus Alex Shelley. And we're going to have a no contest here because the Wyatt Six come out and intervene by attacking both teams. And we're going to have the usual Wyatt Six theme as all of them gather in the middle of the ring. And Uncle Howdy has the thing that Bray Wyatt has, puffs it out. You got a jump scare at the end. It's great. Next, we're going to move on to Zelina Vega having a promo. Yes, we're going to have the Women's US Champion out. Why not? She's going to talk about her match as Saturday Night's main event, about the wonderful match where she botched a lot of moves, including a move that is associated with the faction that she's in, Rey Mysterio, the 619. She botched it. Don't know why, but there you go. And then
She broke Chelsea's nose, right?
I think so. Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think both of them botched, but Zelina botched more, I guess.
Yeah, she like straight up kneed her straight in the nose, and she broke her nose.
Yeah. Great match. Anyway, she's going to talk about her title and who is next to challenge that title. And then we're going to have Alba Fyre of Secret Harvest come out. And she challenges her to a match for the Women's US Championship, either at Money in the Bank or another episode of Smackdown. Maybe the go-home show before Money in the Bank, whatever. We're going to have a brawl happen, and then we're going to have the rest of the Secret Harvest. And we're also going to have Chelsea Green show up and help her. And yeah, there you go. I'm going to have Zelina Vega go up against Alba Fyre, because we need to get Alba Fyre on something instead of being in tag team. So there you go. Money in the Bank qualifying match, Andrade versus Jacob Fatu versus Carmelo Hayes. Not to be biased here, I'm gonna have Carmella win by pinfall, and we're gonna get some intervention from The Miz. I know we're also gonna have some intervention from JC Mateo and the rest of the not bloodline, but I'd rather have Carmella win because I'm not biased whatsoever. And Andrade can, I don't know, be fed into Jacob Fatu's mid card division title chase thing. Could be nice. Andrade versus Jacob Fatu could be cool. But I'm gonna have Carmella win here. He won the Andrade the Giant. Yes, the Andrade the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And he deserves the push from that win. Gonna have Carmella win. And that, as I say, is that after the match, we're gonna have Jacob Fatu just be, I don't know, not harassed, but he's gonna get some talking by a couple of the other members of the not bloodline, including Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo. And they're basically gonna berate him about the lack of coordination and all that. It's gonna feed into the tension between JC Mateo and Jacob Fatu. Gonna be like, why aren't you guys coordinating? Why are you guys helping me? Solo's like, oh, I don't need your bickering because you said you don't need any help and all that stuff. So we're gonna sow some more seeds into that, and we're gonna feed into the next match, which is Solo Sikoa versus Montez Ford. This happened because I think the Street Profits attacked the not bloodline, or not attacked, but there was some backstage segment between Solo Sikoa and the other members, as well as the Street Profits, and they were sort of laughing at the Street Profits having the tag team championship. So I think this is gonna feed into the whole tag team situation here with Street Profits and the not bloodline. So we're gonna have Solo Sikoa win here by pinfall with intervention from JC Mateo. Jacob Fatu could be factored, but he's probably not going to be much of a factor considering the tension that he has with Solo Sikoa. And so that's kind of what I have there. And we're going to end with a Bianca Belair promo. Yes, we're going to have her return be the last thing on the show. She's going to talk about her journey, what she went through recently, what happened at WrestleMania, Naomi turning on her, and all that stuff. But remember Wyatt Six appearing on the show earlier? Well, we're gonna have the lights just darken a little bit. We're gonna have some shade thrown in. And after that happens, we're gonna have Nikki Cross come out and attack Bianca Belair out of nowhere. And she's gonna pose after beating her up, and the show goes off the air. That's right, I'll have Bianca Belair feud with Nikki Cross. Yeah, the central crux of the feud is basically just the Wyatt Six going after those who they think has wronged other people, and Bianca Belair seems to be one of those people. Talking about her relationship with Naomi and Jade and all that stuff. So I guess that'll be the central crux of the storyline. And there you go. I know it's a ridiculous end, but I don't know, man.
That is quite the reach. That is quite the reach, honestly, for the Wyatt Six. I had a much different prediction in terms of how they would be involved. I think having Nikki Cross go after Bianca Belair is interesting, but I don't see it as happen. I don't think there's a good chance of it happening, unfortunately.
No, because Road Dogg is uncreated. No, I'm kidding. I mean, what else could you put Bianca Belair in that doesn't involve her going back to Naomi and all those other old feuds? Because I think this means it's a new beginning for her.
Not to give away my booking, but he still has unfinished business with Naomi and Jade.
Okay. I mean, she kind of hinted that like she wants to begin anew, but all right. Well, let's see what you have then.
Okay. So I too, Bianca was confirmed to show up. I think she comes out. I think she starts a promo about wanting to put all of this stuff behind her, but Naomi, being the crazy person that she is, comes out and attacks her from behind. Jade Cargill comes out for the save, and this leads into the Money in the Bank qualifying match after with those two and Nia Jax.
Oh.
And I actually have Nia Jax winning this.
Okay.
I think the reason I have Nia Jax winning this is because I think that she is probably the best heel woman on that show.
Okay.
I mean, you have Charlotte Flair, but she's not very fucking good, honestly,
Woo!
as a heel. And I think Nia Jax is great as a heel. And I think it makes more sense to push her back to the top. And I think this sets up a three-way feud between Jade, Bianca, and Naomi that'll eventually blow off at SummerSlam, with Nicki Minaj being involved, obviously.
I think that makes sense. Yeah. But I don't know. It seems like they're pushing new people, so might as well get on that train. Get on that new people push train. But if Nia Jax does win, I could definitely see her winning, maybe potentially Money in the Bank. But yeah, I guess just try to feed into the story of the woman. What's her name? Tiffany Stratton. Oh boy. Yeah.
I think Nia goes back to feuding with Tiffany. I think she takes it from Tiffany, and then you probably build up like a Jade Cargill against her or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on.
So I have Pretty Deadly versus Fraxium. Why do I have these two? Well, Fraxium is new, and they've just lost, and Pretty Deadly is a jobber team. So having these two, what is it? Is it a non-compete? What's the fucking ending where another team wins?
What? You mean
what's the
no contest?
No contest. Thank you. Jeez, I know it was NC something. Goddamn. No contest due to Wyatt 6 interference. Now, I don't think they go as deep as, I mean, in all likelihood, they probably don't show up at all on the show. But no. I was lazy this week. I was very lazy and I couldn't think of anything else.
Yeah, safe to say they're pretty dead.
Yeah, they're not showing up this week, unfortunately. But I was lazy as fuck this week, and I was like, well, fuck it. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Maybe in an ideal world, they do.
Yeah.
But they come out, and I think the scope of their interference is related to the tag teams. And I kind of agree with you in that they're going after people that have wronged others. But I think they do this in sort of a we're here, bitch type of move. Because I think they have to be booked as heels. You can't book them as face. Because they're supposed to be a supernatural, spooky group, and you can't make them good guys. So,
well, I guess would you put them as a tweener faction? Do you think
maybe as like a tweener, as like a weird, almost like fairy godmother type people where they come in the middle of a feud to help out the person who's being wronged randomly.
Yeah.
Like a Batman. like a spooky supernatural Batman that just comes from the sky.
When you're in trouble, yeah, you just put that up as a sign.
Uncle Howdy jumps off the Jumbotron again.
Oh. Beautiful.
I saw this on YouTube, posted by OSW, and I need to ask you this question.
Oh,
why do they call the title the Undisputed title if there's also a world champion on the other show?
It was called the Undisputed title because previously, I think this was back, 2019, 2020?
When Roman had it, yes.
When Roman had it, he had the Raw and SmackDown titles.
Yes.
And WrestleMania, a couple of years ago, when he faced off against Brock Lesnar, that was a sort of unification match to combine the SmackDown and Raw titles to become the undisputed Universal Champion. And when Cody had it in WrestleMania, was it last year? He sort of, or not he, but WWE sort of changed the title to Undisputed WWE Championship because I don't know, like Universal is NBC Universal, and they're kind of moving away from that to go into the Netflix era. So,
but if it's undisputed, like I get the whole point of it being undisputed because it was a unified belt of both brands. But the other brand just made a new fucking belt.
yeah,
It's not undisputed anymore.
I guess that sort of feeds into the frustration that some people have, which is the fact that the World Heavyweight Championship is being treated like a second-rate belt, even though it's the top title on Raw, right?
I mean, I agree to some extent, but I think you do need to have a B championship to your A championship, you know?
Okay.
Like, I think it serves a purpose for people that you wouldn't normally put, because obviously the undisputed title is like that's like your guy.
Yeah.
Like that's the face of the company, right? Then you have another title that's for someone who isn't like you don't want them to be the face of the company, but you want them to be popular and you want them to be seen, but they're not like it's like the 1A. And
Yeah.
I think that serves a purpose. I think
Yeah,
if you see it
absolutely.
like that, it makes sense.
I think that's sort of the way they're doing it now with like John Cena and Jey Uso holding the top titles on both brands. Like John Cena, okay, so say what you will about whatever year old John Cena holding a title in 2025, but he's kind of the face of the company or has been, and it kind of makes sense to put it on him, storyline wise, and also to bring new people and people who have been out of it into the fold. But then you have Jey Uso, who you can treat him like a worksman champion. He'll defend that title every week, for sure. He's kind of a hardworking guy. He shows up, and he's pretty popular with the fans, and he could potentially be the face of the company. In some people's eyes, he already has been the face of the company. So that sort of nature kind of applies to what's going on now. So I kind of do agree with you. It's just who gets it from Cena, right? And will Jey Uso, in terms of popularity, will his popularity go down as the year goes on? Right? When will people get sick of Jey Uso? Because you already kind of see it on the internet. Like people have kind of disliked Jey Uso even before he got the title. But that's a whole other shebang. Anyway, this tag team situation, you said no contest by Wyatt Six interference. Do you imagine the Wyatt Six going after the tag team championships this year or next year? How would you I guess book that? Like what's next for the Wyatt Six after they attack both teams?
Well, we can continue down the card because I have them showing up again.
Oh, okay.
You know.
All right. Sure. Okay, we'll move on. Santos Escobar versus Aleister Black.
Yeah, Santos Escobar versus Aleister Black. I think this is a fight that they can use to build up Aleister Black again, and I think this was really just put in by me to fill time. And yeah, I think Aleister Black wins this one. I think these guys have been. I think Santos needs to fight. He hasn't been shown in a while. Aleister Black needs to be rebuilt back up after losing the Money in the Bank qualifier. And I basically have a hammer and a nail, and that's all this fight is, really.
So there's a storyline right now in terms of the Legado del Fantasma, maybe breakup, maybe. And I didn't really have it for my card because it's probably going to be another backstage segment. But would you put in seeds for the breakup here in this match? Maybe before the Wyatt Six show up? Or
Maybe,
sorry.
maybe. I would probably. You probably want to see that. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. You'd probably have like say have a miscommunication between Garza and Berto, which leads to an argument, and then Berto leaves or something like that, right?
Maybe. Yeah. You could I could have that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
I haven't
trying to
followed
help you.
the I honestly haven't followed the like I don't know Phantasma breakup
Man.
because it seems like they're gonna break up every week and they don't.
Are
So
you saying that they're kind of like the Judgment Day with Finn Balor? I guess you could draw the parallel. Moving on to the next Money in the Bank qualifying match.
yeah, this is the second Money in the Bank qualifying match. And I think Fatu wins. And I think you build in the Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa fight into Money in the Bank.
All right. Interesting. You're going to have the US champion go over here. All right. But you don't see him winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, right? Because there
No,
hasn't been a
I
lot of.
see LA
Yeah.
Knight winning the briefcase.
Okay. And are we gonna sow some seeds for dissension between JC Mateo and Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, or are we delaying that?
I think you see that in the Money in the Bank fight. You don't see that here.
All right. Moving on to Johnny Gargano versus Alex Shelley. Which is also what I have.
Yes. Yes. I think I don't know who took it from who, but I had the same exact thinking that basically, Gargano fought the other guy last week, and who was the other guy? Chris Sabin.
Chris Sabin.
I was like, yeah, you know what? They're lazy as fuck. I'm lazy as fuck. Makes sense to do the opposite this week. And I think it's Wyatt Six interference.
Really? Okay. Well, yeah,
I
that
guess.
makes sense. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, okay. Wyatt 6. We love Wyatt 6. No questions. And you're gonna end with the John Cena promo.
Yes, the John Cena promo. So John Cena comes out, basically talks the same shit as he did before. I'm the last true champion, whatever, yada yada, fucking whatever the hell. Jeez,
Do you believe him
I
as a
am
heel?
tired. I am tired. What do you mean by do I believe him?
Do you believe everything that he says as a heel? Like I've seen a lot of like discourse online of people saying like, "Oh, I don't believe John Cena as a bad guy because he keeps coming out and saying the same shit to the fans every week, and it feels forced and all that." Like, do you agree with that or?
I think I've made it clear I don't agree with what he's spitting. I think a lot of his, like I was telling you, that I don't get his whole, the fans left me. Like, brother, you've been over for like 15 years. I don't know who the fuck you're talking to. The fans that hated you have grown up and are gone.
Right. I just think that like from the people who wanted this to happen, like him turning heel, it seems to them that they had high expectations for John Cena as a bad guy. Like him beating up our truth wouldn't be like Saturday night's main event. It would be like beating him up in his first day as a heel or something like that. They just think that booking him as a bad guy would have been better if they had not stuck him in a bunch of PLEs with a bunch of other people that are interspersed with him doing the same shtick in every arena, saying "I hate you" over and over. I think it's just the whole booking problem. Like, how do you book a bad guy John Cena? Would you book it like they're booking right now, or would you deviate? And I think from the fans' perception, it seems like WWE is just content to book the same shit for John Cena every week and not mixing it up. So I think that's where the problem lies. Do you agree with that? Do you think that John Cena should be booked differently as a bad guy? Like what do you kind of expect?
I think the way it goes here is I think you see him slowly start to chip. I mean, this was part of what I was going to say his promo was
Yeah.
about is that Cody comes out
Yeah.
and he says, "You know what? I actually kind of feel bad for you, bro, because you used to be the hustle, loyalty, respect, and now you're just basically a loser." and he says that, I saw, some of that in you on Saturday when he hesitated at first to use the belt
Yeah.
for a few seconds and then, kicked him in the balls. But, I think you start to see this slow chipping away of what John Cena's heel is, and he kind of regrets what he did. And I think that eventually builds to something at WrestleMania that I'm not quite sure of yet. But
WrestleMania.
I don't think he. Oh, sorry, not WrestleMania. Fuck. SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. There you go.
And I think he might drop the belt at SummerSlam.
Okay.
I think he might, and then he goes on to
Who, Cody?
Yeah, probably Cody. Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah. I don't see, unless they give it back to Roman.
Okay. I don't
Like
know,
I said,
man. Roman hasn't fucking showed up. What the
He's
hell?
anti-work.
Oh,
He carried the company for 5 years, and now he's like, yeah, he's anti-work. He's like,
he's
yeah,
quiet quitting, guys. He's quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting.
But yeah. Okay. Also, keep in mind, I think WWE is working in CM Punk versus John Cena, which, again, that's a big money match for sure. I could see CM Punk being John Cena's last opponent as well. Like, that would be really cool if he was John Cena's last opponent, but I don't know. We still got a half of a year left, so we'll see where it goes.
I think his last opponent ends up being either Carmelo Hayes or maybe like an LA Knight or someone young who needs to be put over.
Okay.
Like, why would you do CM Punk? He's like 75 years old.
Come on, man. It's a big money match. It's nostalgic. People want that stuff.
Do that like Survivor Series or something, man.
Think about it, Mike. CM Punk, John Cena, last time ever. Now that is money. They'll put butts in seats. We're going to charge him $500 for those seats. Not even 500, just 5,000. F it. You got to see both of them. Wrestle their heart out. Okay. Who do you think goes on top? Do you think there's going to be a brawl? Or would you just have Cody Rhodes do his promo and then that's it?
Yeah, I think Cody is in the middle of cutting a promo. He's attacked from behind by Logan Paul. And then... Yeah. I'm debating. I wrote Jimmy, and I'm debating if I want to keep Jimmy or if I want to keep Jay. Because I know that I know Jay showed up on SmackDown, but I don't want him showing up too much on SmackDown because he's a Raw guy. And my initial thinking was Jimmy comes out and he's like, "Yeah, it's just for my big oos." But now I'm unsure.
Point is, they need to stick with the freaking brand split, alright? No more crossing goddamn shows, alright? If you're not gonna fucking cross...
Cody came out and he was like, "We're gonna do a tag team match between us two." And I'm like, Cody, you're on different shows, bro. What are you doing?
I mean, if they're gonna do that, might as well break the first rule.
Alright, I'm gonna say Jay. You probably have Jimmy. I'm gonna say Jay Uso comes out to save Cody.
Oh. I didn't have Jimmy. I just had Cody do a crossroads and Cody wins because I want to keep the first rule on my side. But I swear to God, if Jey Uso is in here, then I guess we're breaking the first rule for next week because next week is the go home show for Money in the Bank. So there you go. Anything else, or that's about it?
Do you think they do a special pay-per-view for John Cena, like a ruthless aggression or something?
If they like money, yes. If they have a solid card on top of John Cena and who his last opponent for his last match is, sure, I can see that happening. As for enticing people to join and watch live, I don't know. Maybe put a nice card. Maybe do some nice build up for each of your matches on the card and have a great show right there. I can see it happening. I hope so. I'll go. I'm guessing you will too, Mike, if they do the same.
Yes, I will.
Well, there you have it. Anything else you want to add before we get on out of here? I don't have anything. Again, this is just a boring ass week. So
Watch this be our most accurate week of all time.
watch us get the same amount of points. That's great, Road Dogg. Pretty great. Alright, well, since there's nothing else, I got nothing, he's got nothing. I guess we're on out of here. Sorry. Road Dogg did not give us anything much to hang onto, at least for the next episode of Smackdown. So, until then, we are going to watch the next episode of Smackdown, and we are going to tally up our votes. We'll see where we are next week. See if we are in line with Oh You Didn't Know, Mr. D-O-double-G. And, I don't know, until then, thank you for ordering a blue cheese pizza, Grapperinos, called probably next week on SmackDown. And remember, if you're down for some fresh, oven-baked, crusty wrestling content, then stop by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos.